It's recording. Okay. My name is Christie, and welcome to the very first episode of my cooking show. And I am so excited. I'm so excited. I'm here with my friend Tasha. Hey,
Tasha. Yay.
So this cooking show is dedicated to home cooks. So the goal is to interview home cooks to get tips and tricks to help people to learn how to cook better in their houses. I know for me, it was very difficult learning how to cook. And so I just want to be able to help people. A lot of times you have these videos and you have these recipes online, and it's just like, who are these recipes for? Like,
right. They were reading a different language.
It's like nobody is like, I don't even know what some of these ingredients are. Like, this is not what we cook every single day. So I want
this at the grocery store.
Exactly. I want this to be for the everyday person, just at home cooking. And so I'm excited. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. Because we talk about food.
All the time.
Yeah. And I mean, at work, we talk about food to get through the day. We talk about food to kind of motivate us for the weekend. So why not have this type of platform?
Why not? I love talking about food. Absolutely. I could talk about food all day long.
I could talk about food more than relationship. I could talk about food more than my family right now. Because the only thing I know I have better control over is cooking the food. In the midst of all of that, and especially coming through COVID, we had to make a lot of different changes on how we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So, got one rule for the show is, which I know you already read.
Yes.
We're going to try not to refer to things as simple or easy. And the reason being, I don't know how other people feel, but I know for me, when I try to do something, like, it's like, oh, this is really simple. You can do this, or this is very easy. And it's like, when I don't do it, and then I'm like, well, it's really not that simple, because it's simple to you because you've been doing it for so, or you know how to do it. But for me, it's not simple. And I don't know, I kind of find, I don't know the word for it, but I just kind of think that it's just not necessarily a good word for every single audience. I mean, if you are like someone who, knows how to cook, then it might be simple for that person.
Right.
But for somebody who just doesn't know, then it's not simple and it's not easy. So we're gonna try not to use those words, because
I'm gonna try.
I'm gonna try. That's okay. We're gonna try. We're gonna try. So wait.
Yes.
Let's get into them pictures you sent me first of all. So if I could pull them up on here, I would, but I can't. They will be on the Instagram. Those are professional looking pictures.
I had to bring the receipts, and don't get me wrong. I didn't really grow up cooking. I grew up and I knew how to cook, but cooking is something that you got to develop. So that's my developed end. If you caught my first thing that I prepared ever in life, we're not going to come for me at that early age. But yeah, I enjoy cooking. I started doing that again during COVID, taking pictures of what I was preparing. And it just kind of gave me pleasure, and, sharing with my friends. Ooh, bring that, bring this, do this. What was in that? And we just shared and learned from each other. So one of the things I love to do is take pictures, but I do know that there's a food filter picture and there's a regular picture. I use that food filter picture because it does come out a whole lot better. Yes. Yes. Like, but those are the receipts. Those are mine.
These look a little professional. Okay. So let's talk about you. So do you remember when did you learn how to cook? Like, how old were you? When you first started cooking, I guess.
It was at a young age. My mom set up chores for all of us. So I'm like the youngest of three. We were born and raised in DC, a couple of blocks up from Howard University. So we had a lot of different cultures in our area. So my mom set up different type of chores. And one of the chores, once you became of a certain age, you had to cook a basic meal for dinner for our family. And so I was probably about 8 or 10 when I probably started. Oh, no. We were in the kitchen paying attention to my mother cooking. She was really, she was a great cook, but she was an extraordinary baker. I never got that talent. My brother has some of that skill. I'm not gonna give him all that credit, but she was a really creative baker, where she would bake all these different cakes and turn them into looking like spaghetti and meatballs or any type of item back then.
So she was like cake boss.
Before they was a cake boss.
Before there was a cake boss.
My mother was a cake. You're right. My mother was a cake boss. For real. I mean, back then, we're talking about early, mid 80s, putting my age out there, I'm good with it. But for her to come home after working a full-time job and having to get meals together for the whole family, she realized she got 3 kids. So after a while, you get old enough, I don't have to work that hard when I get home. So everybody has a chore. 2 of us had to clean and 1 of us had to cook. And so around, I say between 8 and 10, watching my mom cooking all the different type of meals throughout, my life at that point, and the holiday meals. After a while, we had to put in that chore. We had to go ahead and start cooking. It was a chore, but you know what? It was our culture. It was our family. It was a tradition. We got excited sometimes when we had to cook. Now, we didn't cook every day. She knew better. She was like, you need to have real food on this plate. So maybe I have one of my children cook once a week or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
It was at a really young age, between 8 and 10 for me. And my brother and my sister were older, what have you. But we all got ourselves in there. She taught us a lot of things. And that's how it all started, right at the home. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really good, because one of the things that I gripe about to myself is that I had a lot of great cooks in my family, but no one taught us how to cook.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a good cook. My mom is a good cook. I have other people that were good cooks, but nobody pulled me in and said, hey, here, let me show you how to, or let me show you how to do it, or you go in there and do it, for that matter. It was either done by the time I got home, or it was just, not necessarily stay out of the kitchen, but not come in here and learn either. So that's good. So can you remember, kind of take me back, do you remember like one of the first things that you learned, or just something that kind of stands out to you that your mom taught you how to cook that early?
So coming from a Black family in DC, we had our basic staples. I'm going to be honest. It was that fried chicken, potato salad, which was my grandmother's. That's a whole other story. String beans, cornbread, things of that nature. That was reserved more so a lot for like the holidays per se, but the meat and potatoes, because you have a family, you have to provide 7 days a week a meal. The staple for us as kids that we learned going in was spaghetti and meatballs. And meatballs. It was totally different than what we do now, because back then we didn't have the panko breadcrumbs or what have you. We had to remember and really think ahead. If I'm going to make spaghetti for my family, what's that, 5? I should know what's my family. If I'm going to make spaghetti for a family, my 5 come tomorrow. For us, we had to leave that bread out so it could get stale. And because that was a piece of what you put into the meatballs. My grandmother had like the gorgeous bread box back in those days. It was pink with a little door, what have you. She would leave the bread there to get stale overnight. And then she would use it for breadcrumbs, because we didn't pay for breadcrumbs. We didn't have panko. So she taught us kind of the real basics. We had to learn how to cut. And that's what you learn really in school. They teach you how to be safe with the knives. So we had to learn how to, cut up onions and green peppers. And sometimes our onions and green peppers were a little bit too big because our fingers were small, and we had to be safe. And then she would go behind us and dice them up a little bit smaller. But we learned how to do that. We learned how to make sure the bread was out the night before, how to put all of this together and form the meatball. And then put it in the pan, and then, let it really steam. Put that cover first. You want to cook the meatball for a while, and then take this lid off. She didn't tell me step by step. She just said, do this, do this. And back then in the 80s, you ain't really question them that much. You not like the kids do today. Because I'm not trying to, be on the floor too often. But you don't question why they say to do this, do this. You just did it. And sometimes you'll figure it out, and sometimes you just don't. But she taught us that way. Like, she taught us how to use a pear knife to, take the skin off of a potato versus using a vegetable peeler, because there's a difference between that. She's like, you don't sit up there and waste the meat of the potato, and you peel that skin as thin as possible, because you got to make food stretch. So it was I had to understand what she was doing, but I didn't have to necessarily question. It just made sense. So we went through all of that with making the meatball. And back then we didn't have that many options for spaghetti sauces. Probably just ragu, and it was probably in a can, and you have to use an old-fashioned can opener. Nowadays, kids don't want to touch meat. I'm gonna get in trouble for this, and that's okay. Come for me, come for the industry. Come on. some of the younger generation, they don't want to sweat. They don't want to put that sweat equity into making good food. You want to put something in the microwave, or you want the easy way out. But there's also the love that's put into this food.
Yeah.
So we had to learn how to, open up the can with the old can opener and then make spaghetti. And I mean, that old tradition of throwing that little piece of spaghetti up against the wall. Oh, that works. That's true. Oh, yeah. That's Bible right there. That stuff works. So that's how we learned.
Did y'all salt? Did y'all salt the water?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Oh, what school of foolishness did we come from? Yeah, we gotta salt that water. Yeah,
I read something the other day that said, "Do not salt your pasta water." I didn't read the whole article. I just read the title, and I was like, "What? What do you mean don't salt the pasta water?"
And I think sometimes it's the new age of things, because some people put oil in their water. And I'm like, as long as it comes out with what you want. But my thing is you got to still kind of season everything as it goes. So you put a little salt in the water. Some people say they put oil in the water so the noodles don't stick. Well, you could do that as well, or as you can really go in and stir up the noodles, because that's what you got kids for. You stay by the stove. You can't go watch TV. You can't go outside. You got to watch this.
I ain't gonna say I just learned, but I think I did just learn that, because I was watching somebody cook, and he said just what you said. When you put the noodles in, keep stirring them until it starts boiling. If you keep stirring them, they won't stick together. Yeah. So you don't even need any oil. And I was like, so that's a tip.
Yes.
You don't want your noodles to stick together. Stir them when you put them in there. When it starts boiling, you don't have to stir because they're already moving around.
Exactly.
And they won't stick.
Yes.
There you go.
So again, a lot of times you're not told the reason why. You just kind of figure it out at the end result. Oh, that's the reason why, so-and-so and such and such. That's how it goes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So spaghetti and meatballs.
It was spaghetti and meatballs. I believe that would have been the first thing that she would allow us to do, because in our family, certain family members had special dishes, and my grandmother had the potato salad. It was on lock. We weren't even told how to make her potato salad until we were like at least 14. So we had to kind of graduate and know what you're doing. And the thing is, and it made sense. If my mother did not teach me how to use a paring knife, then my grandmother couldn't show me how to make potato salad, because she did the same thing when she taught my mother. So I can't, and a lot of people skip steps. I can't skip the step that my mother gave me, thinking I'm going to sit in my grandmother's face and be like, oh, I'm ready to go ahead and do potato salad. But you didn't start at step 1 through 5, and you want to come over here and cook at 12? No, ma'am, go back to your mama.
So how do you cook your spaghetti now? Is it different than what you've learned? Can you tweak it a little bit?
It is, but the sad thing is I don't even eat spaghetti that much. I probably, and please don't come for me, don't come for the industry. This is just how I am with it. Things I go through, and I go through different food types. So I don't really do a lot of Italian food or pasta right now. But if I do spaghetti, I'm gonna probably do quickly. But I know once I graduated from college and I was on my own, I decided to learn how to make the pasta. Make the sauce by scratch. And I was all in it. Okay. Not gonna do that again. But at this point, I'll just get a jar and pour it in there, put a little bit of sugar, because that's how we do at my family. A little bit of sugar, what have you, get that down. And that's what it is. Spaghetti's like a go-to emergency meal that I need to go ahead and have something last for a couple of days. Yeah. So I don't really do it that differently. Okay. I probably do cut corners. I might not make meatballs. I might just do the ground meat and keep it moving.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. So this is, and I told my chef this, I'm in culinary school, Tasha knows that. So I told my chef this, I was like, I am so, I cannot get, I can. I struggle with the whole, how much salt and pepper to put in stuff. I don't understand how, when people say salt to taste, it's like, I have too little or it's too much. I can't get it straight down the middle. So did your grandma teach you how to salt and season foods, or how did you learn to get those seasonings, specifically the salt and pepper part?
So my mother and my grandmother don't come from the grave for me. They didn't say specifically do 1 teaspoon, a quarter teaspoon, what have you. Again, it's a generational thing, even though that their recipes were written down and you could follow it, but that's not what they're doing. It is a salt to taste, and you have to really, in my opinion, salt a little bit at a time. Don't rush it. put a little bit in, stir it up a little bit, let it get in there first, and then taste it. To me, it's like, I told a friend one time, it's like a new relationship. You need to put a little bit in, see if it works, sit back, see how they act, see how he reacts to what you say, let it marinate, and then taste it. And if it's okay, it's going the right way, put a little bit more salt or whatever the case may be. But you can always add seasoning. You can't take it away. So you don't want to think, oh, I need a whole tablespoon of salt. No, because you don't know what you already have going in there. If you have like cheese going in there, that's salt. If you have some other items in there, it brings the sodium. So my thing is always put a little salt and just move from there. One thing I learned more so when I do certain meats is that, and we find this out, after you fix it, cook it, and it tastes really good, and you have leftovers and you put it in the refrigerator and you might take it out 2 days later, totally different. Totally is more intense. So sometimes you might not need to over salt it, or you might need to under salt it. It depends on what it's for. Like for my empanadas, I over season the meat because I have to make up for the pastry, because there's no salt in the pastry. So it's kind of a learning curve. So I normally tell people to put a little bit of salt, let it sit there. Again, it's a relationship. You and that food is in a relationship. You want to see if you're going to be committed, and then put a little bit more salt in there if it works. And then sometimes maybe not use salt that much, use other items. I'm a big fan of cumin. Cumin is, man, I'll go through cumin before I go through salt. Yeah, I love me some cumin. Garlic powders, onion powder. You can also use light soy. Don't use the regular soy sauce. Don't sit up there and get the regular soy sauce and try to pour like you pouring something else. You can get yourself in a situation. But there are other ways, there are other ways to get that sodium in, but try it little by little. Don't put a lot in, because then all of a sudden you had to find something to dilute that, and that messes up the whole dish. But I do agree. So it is salt to taste. If you're starting off and this is your first recipe, then follow the recipe. If it says 1/2 teaspoon, then put in 1/2 teaspoon. At the end of it, if it's not to your liking, then you can always add in.
Now, have you taught anybody how to cook? Family members, cousins, nieces, child, like anybody, like
family members, because it's a family thing for me. Because you kind of bring down your tradition as well. Now, again, talking about the new generation, is the instant gratification generation, but you'll get a few diamonds in the rough. But I think sometimes they'll revisit it once they get older, especially when they get on their own and they realize, you know what, I should have paid attention on how she made that potato salad, because this, what I'm bringing to the table is not potato salad. It's probably potato soup, but not potato salad. So it's more so, I think it was different because we learned it as a chore and it just became a part of us. My brother knows how to cook. Don't let the smooth taste fool you. We both love to grill. But growing up, once we kind of both got old enough to be on our own, that boy was eating rice-a-roni. But he knows how to cook. Now that he's married, he's cooking. When it's a necessity, he gonna cook. I love to cook, period. Coming from home to college on my own, I enjoy cooking. But it's just because it was brought to us, and it's a good point, like you said, if it's brought to a person at a young age, it becomes embedded in them. And then for them to then bring it down to their generation. So for you to bring it to your kids is a traditional thing, and then they could pick it up from there. So it goes from, cooking to exposing people to different type of foods. I've worked with a lot of young people who are not exposed to even the common food of a button mushroom. They're like, I don't know what that is. I'm not going to eat it. Da, 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 da. It's a mushroom. Now, if it's cooked right and seasoned good, you're going to be eating mushrooms. You're going to look past that. But it's because at a young age, I think that's the important thing. When you expose people at a young age and constantly expose them, they'll pick that up. They'll definitely pick that up.
So do you have another tip? So we talked about salt and peppering, seasoning. Do you have any other tip that you have given to someone when you were teaching them how to cook, or just, to someone who is trying to learn how to cook and just like, don't know?
It's going to be okay to mess up. Please, even if you I have followed recipes that sometimes I'll research a recipe, especially if it's different ethnic cuisine. I'm big into Asian. We're working into a lot of African cuisine that I'm working on now. I'll research that and I'll follow that recipe step by step the first time. And at the end, if I'm like, I messed up somewhere, I really did. But
Right.
that's a learning curve. That's a learning curve because, but a lot of people, they'll mess up and say, I'm not going to make that again. There's a difference between trying it a couple of times and knowing you're not good at it. There's some things I am not good at. I am not good at baking. I will still try from time to time, but I am not good. It's a science.
Yeah.
But I'll still try it. But if you try, especially a recipe from a different cuisine, a different ethnic group, like Asian cuisine, you've got to have about 50 ingredients going into one pot.
Yeah.
And it's going to take some time. I'm prepared that my first attempt is going to be an epic fail. And I'm going to be okay with it. I'm going to be okay with it. The first time I try to make pho, and it's just like a basic beef or chicken soup. I mean, I was all in there cooking and throwing stuff around, thinking, oh, go ahead and do with the salt off. It came out like water. It was an epic fail. I still, doctoring it up a little bit, but knowing that it's okay to fail, I'm going to always try a recipe at least 3 to 4 times before I say, I'm just not good at that, especially depending on the cost of the ingredients.
Right. Yeah.
It costs too much. I'm not going to keep rushing and, breaking these eggs for no reason.
Right.
But another tip I know, and what I shared with you, is taking a picture of it. When I take my picture of my first one, which is an epic fail, versus my fourth one, I see the difference. And of course, the ones that are the epic successes, those are the ones that will be posted. I ain't gonna post some fails right now. I'm not on that platform for that. But I think to go into it, to understand that when you're cooking, it's a learning thing.
It is.
It is. It's not going to be perfect. Or if you're able to get a recipe from a family member or friend that you can actually learn next to them before you do it on your own, especially if you're doing a serious recipe. Like I love Tuscan chicken under a brick. That's a real situation right there.
That sounds like
butterfly. You got a butterfly whole chicken. And I was just like, I ain't butterfly the first one. I cut it up, but it was not actually butterfly. But I learned. But my thing is, it's okay the first time if it's not on point. It's okay the second time it's not on point, because you're gonna learn. And you're like, you know what? The last time I didn't put that much of this in it. Let me try it with a little bit more. And it's gonna be an improvement. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I did. I made some. What did I make? Was it? Well, I don't know, but I know I made some turkey burgers. So I made some turkey burgers yesterday. I made some the other day, and I think the second time I made it, I was like, they could have used a little bit more salt, and it would not have overpowered it and made it salty. So I put a little bit more salt in there.
Right.
And it was so good. So you're right. So it's just learning, also to kind of like trying to almost remember, maybe how much you put something in there. Especially when you're just learning out. So you'll know, okay, well, next time that was way too much.
I've done that. I've over seasoned and salted meals. Even to this day, I'll be like, oh, I think I know what I'm doing. Made that mistake.
So I want to get back to this cumin. I don't even know how to say it. Cumin thing. So I only use cumin for like kind of like Mexican inspired dishes. So like what? Oh, so give me something else that you put cumin in.
Number one, my empanadas. My bottom line, empanadas. Because it gives it a deeper and a richer meaty flavor. So any of my meats, turkey, if you're trying to season turkey, because turkey is dry.
Do you? You put like turkey?
If I want to do a turkey burger, ground turkey, because it just brings out more of the earthiness of the meat, in my opinion.
I'm gonna try that. So next time I make those turkey burgers, I'm gonna put some cumin in there and see what happens. I'm gonna get creative.
Definitely putting some fresh basil in with the turkey, because turkey is a blank slate. People think chicken is a blank slate. No, chicken got some fat. Turkey goes to the gym every day. Chicken be chilling. Turkey ain't got no fat nowhere. Yeah. So when you're doing ground turkey, you gotta put the additional flavoring and seasoning and find some of that fat, that good fat, to put in with it. Yeah. So I try to, beef it up with other things. A lot of the different, fresh herbs, if I could put in for a turkey burger, because I like a good turkey burger. Yeah. But I don't like a dry one. Yeah. I don't like a dry one.
Yeah. Yeah. I put some fresh parsley in mine.
Yes.
I didn't have any fresh thyme, so I put some ground thyme in there. And then just some other stuff, onion powder, garlic powder, stuff like that. But I'm gonna try that cumin next time.
You put it on pretty much any meat. If people eat pork, because from time to time, I slip on the pork. I'm so sorry, Jesus. But cumin and pork, oh my goodness. Oh, and when you're talking, like you said, for Mexican and Hispanic cuisine, cumin is used a lot. So the funny thing is, some of the key ingredients, such as garlic, onions, and garlic powder, onion powder, and cumin, it's across the board, no matter where you're from.
Yeah.
There's cumin. Now, I don't see that much cumin in Asian cuisine. That's totally different.
Right.
That's a totally different level.
Right.
But for a lot of the other places that I try to, focus my attention on for cuisine, cumin is always on that on that list.
Yeah. So what's a dish? So I think I probably know what this is by now. What's something that you just love to cook?
And that's the thing. I had to really think about it, because I'm like, I have my favorites, because my favorites are the ones that are kind of out there, but I haven't shared with other people. Then I have favorites that my friends like and say, oh, you got to make this. I mean, at work, and well, you haven't because you're on the different campus. But at the downtown FSCJ, hey, I love my team. But the first time I brought empanadas to work, they was like, this is all you need to do for you only got one job.
I haven't tried the empanadas. Yeah.
You got one job. Empanadas and the chimichurri sauce. So I know my personal favorites for myself will be pho, like I said, or a curry fish stew with rice and pigeon peas. I go out of the box. I go out of the box as much as possible. I love Caribbean food. I love Asian cuisine. Like I said, I'm working into African cuisine or what have you. But the staple that I have across the board that I know that I like, my friends like, my family likes, is empanadas.
Empanadas. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It ain't an easy thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sorry, it's not a basic. but the thing is, it's more so. I know for me, I don't make my empanadas in one day. Because the meat has to sit after I cook it. It needs to sit, and I need that fat and that oil to become solid. So then when I fill the pastry, I have a solid piece of that juice and everything, and that also flavors when I fry the dough with it. So my thing is, a tip I would also give people is, if you're going to cook something, kind of set it on a day that you have time to do it. Don't try to, I'm going to cook this new meal, but my family's going to be ready in 2 hours. Go throw some spaghetti on the pot and stop playing.
There you go.
Weekend, when you have time and you want to try a new recipe, enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
When I'm going to be doing these new recipes for the African cuisine, I'm going to be on the weekends with music, wine, incense, a little bit of snacks on the way. I'm not playing. I
Did you say incense?
Yeah, I'm burning one right now. I want to enjoy. And I think it's also the environment that you set for cooking. If you're stressed and you're cooking, like, I don't understand why I don't enjoy it, because you're cooking during while you're stressed.
Yeah.
If you're going to be stressed and you're coming home stressed, go to Popeyes, pick up some meal and bring it home.
There you go. That's, you know what? You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Ladies, don't cook when you're angry.
Men
don't cook when you're angry either. I mean, because a lot more men are cooking now than back in the days. But when you're angry, don't cook, because you're going to burn something. You're not going to pay attention. Don't cook when you're angry.
You're not. You are absolutely right.
I've done that.
Every time I try to cook something and I'm like either frustrated, agitated, or something, it's just like, it doesn't work.
That's a night to get a bowl of cereal and keep it moving.
And keep a peanut butter jelly and just be like, this is what I'm going to eat tonight.
Your whole family know, oh, she pissed. Why? Because you're eating peanut butter and jelly and some potato chips. She pissed. Leave mom alone. You done pissed her off. Leave mom alone. Let me pull out this peanut butter and jelly. I know.
So,
but no, I enjoy it. I know, like I said, empanada is a 2-day affair for me. Making pho takes about 5 to 8 hours, because you have to slowly simmer that meat. So
that's a lot.
I'm gonna be home, be doing laundry, but the culture of it is it's a family concept. That's what they did. So I'm like, I'm okay. If I know I'm gonna make pho this weekend, I ain't going nowhere that day.
That's a lot. We made that in class, and
oh yeah,
that was the first time I ever had it. It was the first time I had it, and I was like, I want more. So now I'm not gonna do it at home probably, but like you said, if I had like a whole day, because we were in class for 6 hours.
I know. I don't know how you do class at home.
I mean, it was so good. So good. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Well, this was great.
I've enjoyed myself.
Thank you so much. And I said, the very first time I get to walk on a red carpet, Tasha is going with me, because she was my first guest on my podcast. So she's going to be my first guest on the red carpet. Yes, I will be on the red carpet soon. Watch out. Yes. Watch out for me. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tasha. for all of your tips and tricks and things like that, and sharing your stories with us and
And
the
thank you
audience.
so much. I'm honored to be your first guest. I'm more than happy to come back. I'm excited
Oh
to
yeah,
see
you
where
will be
this
back.
comes. Good.
You will be a recurring guest. I just want you to know this.
Girl, I'm here for you. I'm excited to see where this goes because this is definitely needed. You definitely hit a spot.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Bye.